Tonight on Newswatch.
Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime.
The death toll is rising in an expanding war with Iran. Plus,
it's a humbling thing to see, people in southeastern Ohio coming out to support a local business. It means a lot to me.
The Nelsonville community is rallying around a small business recovering from a disaster. And in sports, an 11th straight loss to Toledo poses a number of postseason questions for Ohio men's basketball. Newswatch starts right now. Good evening, I'm Parker Davis. Welcome to Newswatch. And in an expanding war with Iran, the death toll is rising. U.S.-Israeli joint strikes on Iran killed its supreme leader, a growing list of senior officials, and according to state media, more than 150 girls at an elementary school. Iran is retaliating with strikes against its neighbors as its top official says Tehran, quote, will not negotiate with the United States. Maribel Gonzalez brings us the latest on the conflict.
Today, the United States military continues to carry out large-scale combat operations in Iran to eliminate the grave threats posed to America by this terrible terrorist regime.
In his first remarks since strikes in Iran started Saturday, President Donald Trump said Iranian leaders ignored U.S. warnings not to rebuild its nuclear program.
An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat.
The president also told CNN Monday that the U.S. military is, quote, knocking the crap out of Iran, but the big wave is yet to come. At least 4 American service members have already been killed.
In their memory, we continue this mission with ferocious, unyielding resolve.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said the U.S. strikes on Iran are not meant to be a regime change, but called on Iranians to, quote, to take advantage of the opportunity while explaining the president's mission.
Destroy the missile threat, destroy the Navy, no nukes.
The war is sending shockwaves across the globe, disrupting air travel and hiking gas prices in the U.S. House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries called on lawmakers to pass a war powers resolution in a vote expected later this week.
The American people want us to focus on making their life better, making their life more affordable, not getting involved in another endless war in the Middle East that is going to end in failure.
I'm Maribel Gonzalez reporting.
Last week felt like a sneak peek into spring, and now it feels like another winter day. Forecaster Steve Nedlick has updates on what to expect.
Yeah, today certainly wasn't fun in terms of weather. We're sitting at about 34 degrees right now, and this morning we had that freezing rain, kind of sleet mix. But that's going to all start to change as we head into the evening hours. And if we take a look at the radar right now, it's already starting out there. We can really see there's a lot going on in southern Ohio. We have that snow line that's slowly moving north, and then we have that ice line that is, again, just slowly moving up, and that's because we have this warmer air being pushed up, and this will all slowly turn into rain as our temperatures are actually going to increase as we go into the overnight hours. But right now, you can also see it on the temperature map. We're dealing with 29 in Lancaster, 31 in Athens, but in Charleston, we're already above freezing. So that line is already starting to change, so we're not going to be dealing with this ice or snow like we were dealing with this morning, but rather just a lot of rain coming our way this week. Now, tonight, it's going to be really interesting. As opposed to going down in temperature tonight, we're actually going to go up. It's just because we're going to be given a lot of warm air up from the south, and that's going to give us warmer temperatures, but also a lot of rain tonight. So that's just going to be what's on the docket for this entire week. So if you're heading out tonight, make sure you have a rain jacket because it's just not going to stop anytime soon. Tomorrow, 57. So we kind of only had to deal with that one day of like wintry type weather. And tomorrow we're going to be right back to around 55, 57 degrees. And that overnight low isn't going to dip very low at all because we're just going to be continuing to get a lot of warm weather into our region. But again, that rain is just going to stick around throughout the majority of the week. So make sure you stay tuned because we're going to have a lot of changing weather this week. So stay tuned.
Thank you, Steve. In the 2 weeks since the Mine Tavern in Nelsonville suffered a partial structural collapse, the community has come out in droves to support one of the city's oldest businesses. 11 musicians and more than 100 Nelsonville residents gathered for Friday's Shine for the Mine musical benefit. Newswatch reporter Haley Richardson was at the event in Millfield and spoke with one of the organizers about how it all came together.
Evan McCune was looking forward to his monthly gig at the mine when he heard about the collapse. McCune has been friends with the mine's owners, the Norway family, since they were kids. So once the shock wore off, he knew he had to act.
Once I realized that it was kind of a big deal, then I thought immediately, I wonder if there's anything I can do to help.
McCune made a post on Facebook asking if any local musicians would be interested in hosting a fundraiser for the mine. The post took off, and before he knew it, he had a musical lineup, venue, and a date set, which McCune said was a total surprise.
But it still is a humbling thing to see, people in southeastern Ohio coming out to support a local business. It means a lot to me. I think it's super cool, and it says a lot about the area.
The Mine Tavern first opened in 1842 and is a staple of Nelsonville's public square. The mine's general manager, Patrick Norway, says he and his family have been overwhelmed by the community's generosity.
It was very emotional when they told us all the things they were doing, and very thankful.
Between donations and raffles, the benefit raised more than $7,000 for the mine.
Just thankful for everyone and everything that's happened, and just a promise we'll be back bigger and better than ever.
Reporting for Newswatch, I'm Haley Richardson in Millfield.
The 17th Good Works Walk brought neighbors together to raise money and awareness for people experiencing poverty and homelessness in Southeast Ohio. The event happened on Saturday. It's the nonprofit's first time hosting the walk since 2019. Participants started at the First United Methodist Church and were able to go on 3 different walking experiences. 2 of the walks focused on a different cause surrounding rural homelessness, while the third was on the history of Good Works. Good Works founder Keith Wasserman hopes the walk leaves a lasting impression on its participants.
I hope that people have aha moments in which they realize things they didn't understand or didn't see or didn't notice or recognize before, and that they're kind of like, oh, I never thought of that.
All donations at the event go toward Good Works Day at the Life Fund, which supports running the Timothy House. The Timothy House is a home for adults and children that experience homelessness in Southeast Ohio. For more information on Good Works, you can visit good-works.net. Ohio's intercity bus network, GoBus, has launched 4 new bus routes to increase mobility for rural communities. ODOT and HAPCAP announced the new route expansion begins today. GoBus will now have stops in Dayton, Toledo, Lima, and Ashtabula, along with other communities. The additional routes have doubled GoBus services and added 26 stops. GoBus services now reach 47 counties in Ohio, along with 32 university connections and 27 local transit options. The identity of a body found in a burned-out truck in Meigs County last year has been released. The Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigation used DNA analysis to identify the body found on December 12th in the Hemlock Grove area, the person being identified as Ethan Vernon. The Sheriff's Office says the investigation remains active, with more official findings expected to come from the Montgomery County Coroner's Office. No cause of death has been shared at this time. Meigs County Sheriff Scott Fitch previously reported that deputies and fire personnel were called to a vehicle that was smoldering. They said when they arrived on the scene, they found a body inside the vehicle. Coming up, 2 major streaming services are expected to combine after a massive entertainment deal. And a closer look at how menopause can mimic MS and why doctors say knowing which is to blame for a certain symptom.
We've had a colder start to the week, but warmer weather is on the way. Find out how that affects your week next.
We who believe in freedom cannot rest until this happens.
Free all political prisoners. All power to the people.
It's now time for America to wake up.
Revolution is not a spectator sport. Silence is a noise too.
Tuesday at 8 on WOUB.
Now streaming on the PBS app, the definitive collection from Emmy-winning scholar Henry Louis Gates Jr. From full seasons of Finding Your Roots.
These are your immigrant ancestors.
Oh my goodness.
To acclaimed documentaries.
Black Americans created a world behind the veil.
Discover the incredible history that connects us all. Stream the Henry Louis Gates Jr. collection now with Passport on the PBS app.
The Electron Solar Farm.
Pentagon official. With executive orders.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Bennett.
And I'm Amna Nawaz.
I'm Margaret Hoover.
I'm Christiana Manpour in London.
Bring us up to speed there.
Israel is vowing serious consequences.
Did you get a commitment from President Trump?
We have to work on it.
When that story is told, it will be easier for us to see each other like the people who came before us.
Today, we live in a time when meaningful discourse is needed more than ever.
Is this just, at the end of the day, very smart politics?
It's, never compromise on the accuracy.
This is the story of modern war, how it's fought and how it's changing us.
If this is the way we're going to start breaking the ice, then let's do it.
Two major streaming services are going to become one after a massive merger of the two businesses. Paramount Plus and HBO Max will form a single streaming platform after Paramount's merger with Warner Brothers Discovery. Paramount CEO David Ellison announced the plan during an investor call Sunday. Ellison did not reveal a name or pricing for the streamer, saying the combination would take place over the coming years. The merger must still be approved by regulators, which will take at least several months. Elon Musk is back in court today, this time over his takeover of Twitter. The trial kicked off today in a San Francisco federal court. The case centers around statements made by Musk in May of 2022, when Musk said his deal to buy Twitter was temporarily on hold over concerns about spam accounts. Twitter shares fell sharply after those posts and remained volatile for months. Plaintiffs argue Musk publicly attacked the company in a strategy to drive down its market value, so he could potentially acquire Twitter for less than his original offer. Musk denies wrongdoing and says his statements were true at the time, and the investors have not said about how much they are seeking in damages. A major legal case in the music industry also began today in New York. The Justice Department is suing Live Nation, claiming it's a monopoly that uses its dominance to hurt competition and increase ticket prices. Live Nation, which merged with Ticketmaster back in 2010, denies the claims. If the Justice Department wins its case, it could ask a judge to split up Live Nation and Ticketmaster. The trial is expected to last at least a month. Steve, I was kind of disappointed today. It's the March beginning of a new month that's supposed to bring warmer temperatures, but felt like a February winter day.
No, I know. I walked outside today and I almost slipped and fell. So I was certainly not thrilled to walk outside this morning, but we're going to slowly start to warm up, but we're going to have so much rain coming with it. So you get to put away the winter hat, but you got to break out the rain boots.
I'm not surprised. It always comes with the rain first, and then finally, hopefully, we'll see some sunshine.
Absolutely. But we're getting a lot of warm weather up from the south, because it's going to combat that colder air that's being pushed down from Canada. So that's going to just kind of create this mess that we're going to be dealing with through a majority of the week. But it's pretty evident to see what's causing all of this. Again, yeah, we have that warmer air being pulled up from the Gulf and then being pushed down, that colder air from the north. And that's just going to create a little bit of a mess. But for right now, we're teetering on that freezing line. So that's why we had that freezing rain, sleet mix this morning. But that's going to slowly transition as this warmer air begins to win out. And that's when we're going to start to see a full transition to rain. But right now, we're sitting at 34. But as we go a little bit further south, they're at 37. So the rain is definitely coming. And that's really kind of evident as we did have a winter weather advisory or a special weather statement, but that has just recently expired because that freezing line is slowly moving more north. So we're again just going to be worrying about rain from here on out, but we're going to start to see those warming temperatures. This is really evident right now. There's a lot of mess going on at the Ohio border just because that freezing line is still being worked up from down there. So just take your time if you're heading out the door tonight, early tomorrow, because the roads could just be a little icy as we head overnight. But zooming out a little bit, we can kind of just see what's driving all of this is just this one system that's bringing with it so much rain. We're going to be dealing with rain every single day of the week this week. So again, if you're going anywhere, make sure you pack an umbrella because raindrops are going to be falling. It's mostly just because of this low pressure system that has drug all of this moisture up from the south, and that's just going to be stationary throughout the majority of our work week. And if we look at tomorrow morning, it really doesn't move much. We have an area of high pressure that is pushed out, and that's going to allow us to have these clouds and these rain clouds move into our region. And then tomorrow night is where the warm air really starts to set up, and that's what's going to start giving us these jumping temperatures and get us out of this freezing weather that we've been dealing with. But it's going to bring with us so much rain, and it's just not going to go anywhere. As we can see, the next morning, Wednesday morning, there's not much movement. It's kind of just going to park itself right over our region and just continue to dump more and more rain because this warm air is being pulled with this colder air, and that's just going to create all of this rain, and we're going to get around 3 inches of rain this week. So just make sure if you have anything outside, really make sure you double check your plans because they could be canceled. And then as we get to Wednesday night, these systems really just aren't going to go anywhere. So it's just going to be more of the same every single day. But slowly and slowly, this warmer air is going to continue to impact our temperatures, and that's just going to keep bringing us warmer and warmer. But as for tonight, we're actually going to see something pretty interesting. We're going to have warmer air tonight than we dealt with today, just because, again, that warm front moving through. And tomorrow, we see a big difference from the 30 degrees we had today to almost 60 degrees tomorrow. And again, that 90% chance of rain. But then if we take a look, this warmer air isn't going anywhere. This is our 6 to 10 day temperature outlook, and this is well above average. So even if you're staying in state for spring break, it's still going to feel like you're on summer vacation because we're going to have those really skyrocketing temperatures. And then if we look at the 7 day, yeah, the temperatures are nice, but we're dealing with rain every single day. And if we take a look, 57 tomorrow, 62 on Wednesday, and then we really start to jump on Thursday with a high of 75. But again, that rain isn't going anywhere. That Thursday, Friday, lots of rain, 75 degrees. And then on Saturday, we almost get to 80 degrees. But again, that rain will slowly start to taper off, but so will those warmer temperatures as we're back down into the 60s for the beginning of your work week next week. Back to you.
Thank you, Steve. MS is a chronic, often disabling autoimmune disease that impacts the central nervous system. And since a majority of the estimated 1 million Americans with the disorder are women, many patients may be getting a double whammy of symptoms. Mandy Gaither explains how menopause can mimic MS and why doctors say knowing which is to blame for a certain symptom can help bring relief to women who have both.
It's a natural process that just about every woman will go through. Menopause can lead to hot flashes, night sweats, loss of bladder control, fatigue, sleep disruptions, mood changes, and memory problems. And for a woman who also has multiple sclerosis, these symptoms can overlap.
It's really difficult for many patients and providers to parse out which symptoms are due to which process.
Dr. Elise Carlson, a neurologist with Cleveland Clinic, says lower estrogen at menopause may contribute to the wearing down of the nervous system and changes in immune responses. So for MS patients going through menopause, it can be a double whammy.
And these symptoms can kind of feed off of each other, right? So if we're not addressing these things from one end or the other, they can make the symptoms worse.
That's why Carlson says it's important to talk to a doctor about those symptoms, because if the ones associated with menopause aren't treated, it can worsen already existing MS symptoms.
If these things aren't addressed, it can cause a lot of problems for many women and be very disruptive to their daily function and quality of life.
Carlson says doctors can help figure out if it's menopause or MS to blame and discuss what treatments can help bring some relief. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Coming up in sports, Ohio men's basketball lost to Toledo for the 11th straight time over the weekend. With a rematch on the horizon, the Bobcats have a number of questions to answer as the regular season winds down and the MAC tournament approaches. Newswatch will be back after the break, but until then, be sure to follow us on YouTube, Instagram, and X to stay up to date on all news in Southeast Ohio.
Rajiv Nagaich is an elder law attorney, author, radio personality, and retirement planning visionary.
Imagine waking up tomorrow with the peace of mind that comes from knowing that you've actually taken control of your future.
He's the architect of life planning, which has transformed the way millions of people think about, plan for, and experience retirement.
It's about having a documented plan that honors who you are and what matters to you.
Tonight at 9:30 on WOUB.
America. A wide open landscape where artisans use their creativity to push boundaries.
I love building things, putting things together.
It just, really warms my soul up. Holy smokes, man. Let's go.
The biggest secret to making anything is love.
Thursday at 8 on WOUB. For more than 70 years, WOUB Public Media has been the place where people in our region turn to learn how stories of the past ignite the imagination of the future. It's where information, entertainment, and education work together to inform, enlighten, and inspire generations. It's the place where the community gathers to hear and see our world in new and innovative ways. WOUB, the public media you trust that's worthy of your support.
CasualWorks was not designed, created, or maintained by people who studied disability. They're people who studied opportunity. If a person has very limited movement and can make little teeny circles, there's a place for you. The idea of workers contorting themselves to a job is one business model. Our business model is that the job responds to the worker.
Men's basketball did not get the result it wanted Saturday afternoon, falling to Toledo 79-67. The Bobcats got off to a slow start, and despite making a push in that game, they just didn't have enough to get back in it, ultimately dropping an 11th straight game against the Rockets. And if there is one team who's had Ohio's number in the MAC over recent years, it's Toledo. This has been just an incredibly one-sided head-to-head in recent years. Ohio's lone win in the 2020s came in the MAC championship game in 2021. Jet Bowles is 1-12 against the Rockets, and with a possible rematch looming in the first round of the MAC tournament, the frustration of not being able to beat the Rockets is very apparent.
Disappointed. I mean, that team's not better than us. They just always, when they see they're playing against the Bobcats, they just play to the best of their ability, I don't know. They're not as good as what they look like out tonight. I mean, they were just in gaps heavy. The fouling. All they did was just grab us, hold us. The refs can only do so much. They can't call it every single time. So, I mean, you give them credit that they play physical. They foul every possession. So, good job. Good for them. No, they average 8 offensive rebounds a game. They don't really do that. But like I said earlier, they're playing against the Bobcats. They play out of their mind every single time. It's happened every time I played against them.
I'm probably the common denominator. And, there's some things that we obviously are not doing to beat that caliber team.
Now, with the results from around the conference and 2 games to play for most MAC teams, Ohio can finish no higher than the 4 seed and no lower than the 6 seed. Currently, the Bobcats would face Toledo in the first round as the 4-5 matchup for a second straight season. But with losses this week to UMass and Miami, Ohio could drop to the 6 seed and face off with Kent State. Ohio women's basketball lost their 3rd straight game by 4 or less points on the road Saturday afternoon against Ball State. The 86-85 defeat marks Ohio's 9th straight loss to the Cardinals. Now, this game was competitive throughout. It came down to the final few possessions, but the Bobcats, they just didn't have enough to pull it out. They will now finish the season with a road game against Eastern Michigan on Wednesday night and then return home Saturday to host the Battle of the Bricks on national television to round out the regular season. The women's team also currently sitting in 5th place in the conference and slated to face Central Michigan in the first round of the tournament. The Bobcats could get up to the 4 seed if they win out and CMU loses out, but they could also finish anywhere down to the 8th seed. Ohio's Diamond Sports picked up wins over the weekend, with the baseball team defeating Dayton and the softball team beating Southern Indiana and Stonehill twice. The baseball team did lose both of their home matchups with Dayton. However, the Bobcats rallied to win the first game of a Sunday doubleheader, 12-5. The softball team start the Governor's Classic with back-to-back wins, but then lost a 1-run game against Austin Peay. Baseball will host their MAC opener this weekend against NIU, while the softball team will be at the Western Carolina tournament. That's all we have for sports tonight. Back to you, Parker.
Thanks, Andrew. Still ahead this weekend, saw elementary and middle schoolers across Ohio participate in the Scripps Spelling Bee. Find out who won and what the winning word was. Newswatch will be back after the break, but until then, here's a look at what's coming up next on your public television station.
A female gorilla and her newborn. The arrival of her baby is the start of a new chapter, parenthood. Her journey will be challenging But success for her and for all parents has the greatest of consequences. It ensures the future of life on our planet.
Wednesday at 8 on WOUB.
Hiding right under our noses, there are secret worlds that come to life. Now, on this rapidly changing planet, discover how people are finding new ways to live alongside nature. That could help the next generation create real change. A shared planet is a better home for all of us.
Miss Austen.
Miss
Scarlett. Miss Austen was sister to the great lady novelist Jane Austen.
What's she doing here?
My name's...
I know exactly who you are.
The lady detective. Miss Scarlett, isn't it?
Miss Austen.
Miss Scarlett!
Miss Austen.
Miss Scarlett.
Come along.
All Creatures Great and Small on Masterpiece offers audiences a charming escape to the beautiful Yorkshire Dales. Join us as we go behind the scenes with the cast and creators to celebrate the series and this wonderful part of the world.
Hello, I'm Nicholas Ralph. I play James Herriot in All Creatures Great and Small. Join us for All Creatures Great and Small, Seasons of the Dales.
Sunday at 8 on WOUB.
Elementary and middle school students across southeastern Ohio traveled to Baker Student Center at Ohio University to compete in annual Scripps National Spelling Bee Regional Competition. The winner of the regional competition, hosted by the EW Scripps of Journalism and Patton College of Education to host, will attend the National Spelling Bee in Washington, D.C. While 10 spellers entered the bee, only one came out on top. 11-year-old Joseph Keffer earned a spot in the national tournament for the second year in a row after correctly spelling the final word repository.
Room or container where something is kept or stored.
Repository. R-E-P-O-S-I-T-O-R-Y, repository.
That is correct.
Keffer attributes his spelling success to his parents, who he says help him study by quizzing him with flashcards every night. Keffer says he's excited to return to the National Spelling Bee in the spring after making it to the third round of competition last year. I don't know, guys, repository, that is pretty difficult.
I don't think I would have gotten that.
Oh,
I'm not the best speller, though, so
No.
I'm definitely impressed.
Yes, that is impressive. I'm thinking of like common words too, like necessary, can never spell it.
I can't spell, unfortunately, definitely. I can't do it.
No, absolutely not. I feel like those common words that you would expect to know, it just does not happen. And sometimes I can't even write it, so I couldn't imagine having to spell it out.
Well, I do know one thing, that it's definitely going to rain this week, and it's going to start tonight as we have an overnight low of 35 degrees, which is actually warmer than what we've been dealing with today. And if we look into the 7-day, it's just going to keep raining and keep getting warmer. And it's really not going to be a great week if you're trying to have a good hair day, because this humidity is just going to lead to frizzy hair. So make sure you pack an umbrella and a hat if you're headed out the door, because we're going to have rainy, warm weather on Wednesday, 62, and then we're going to jump up to the mid-70s on Thursday with all that rain still sticking around through Friday, and then we get even warmer on Saturday with that rain chance actually increasing. So it's definitely going to be a rainy work week, and the weekend's not going to be much better, and it's actually going to slowly cool off as we're going to get back down to the upper 60s. So it's certainly going to feel like spring break here, even if you're not heading anywhere else in the country. So we're going to slowly increase that temperature this week, and we're going to have a bunch of rain, so stay tuned.
Well, it does it for our broadcast this evening. Thank you so much for watching. For Steve Nedlick and Andrew Bowlby, I'm Parker Davis. Stay tuned for the PBS NewsHour coming up next, and have a great night.